Ladies and gentlemen, today you are in for a bizarre one. This is even crazy for us. I am currently standing in front of probably a million-year-old hot spring here in southern Idaho. It belongs to a good friend of mine named Jordan Menzel. He said, hey, I got a huge problem. My hot spring is leaking. It sprung a leak and I'm losing all my water and it's not filling up any of the pools that the guests are supposed to be bathing in. So what you're about to witness is us trying to plug up and patch a leak in a 185-degree hot spring. Our goal here is to fix the leak and get the water flowing again so that Jordan can get ready for a big event that they have this weekend where about 100 people are coming up for a concert, and they are going to watch that concert while sitting in the hot tubs. And right now, there's no hot tubs. We got basically today to solve this problem. So buckle up, let's go bathe in the hot springs. So a little backstory on this. I served my LDS mission with Jordan in Bolivia 20 years ago. Yeah. 20 years ago, dude. And then in 2018, Redbeard, you guys know who was on the show with us, came to me one day. He's like, hey, I met your mission companion. We're doing business together. Turns out Redbeard invested in the property with Jordan here, and they were in business a couple of years together. They're all out now. You're the sole owner, yeah, I believe. So small world, interesting situation. Been wanting to get up here for a long time, and we've had a tiny hole in our schedule. When Jordan hit me up last night, I was like, dude, your timing is impeccable, because normally I'd be like, yeah, see you next year. So.
And we have like one day, yeah, to actually make a dent in this. So perfect. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, it worked out good.
Essentially, the handoff of this business was, here's, a bunch of keys and a 20-minute conversation with a guy who had been here for years in the middle of winter. And so we knew nothing about where the pipes were, what they did, how they worked. Nothing was flowing. Power was, where water was, where sewer was. It's a fully off-grid property. Drinking water's a spring, irrigation water's from a creek, power is from the sun. 10 years ago when this drained, their intake pipe was too high and they went, is gravity. Let's create this pipe down to where it's always full, and when it drops, if it ever does again, gravity and siphoning will keep it flowing. But when it dropped, we had an intake pipe open and the gravity pressure lost, so this siphon never worked when it dropped. We've exercised as much experimentation as time can permit, but we have not got the siphon to reactivate. That's problem number one. And problem number two is the pond is still not rising. Our goal is to make sure we and our kids' kids can trust that cavern's probably not gonna deflate from 1 minute to the next. And do we have a system in place so that if it does, we have a plan B, C, and D.
Yeah. If you've ever been in a hot tub that's really hot, it was probably 104. So add 70 degrees to that, right?
Yeah, and I mean, even at 120 degrees, you're causing damage. So even the periphery, it's just a hot environment. That's the human factor. The practical factor is this has been functioning in a certain way for as long as we know it. And anytime you start poking the bear of Mother Nature, you open up a can of worms that were never meant to be canned to begin with.
Right.
As little intervention is the approach we take with pretty much everything here. So yeah, people check in here, get settled, changing stalls, bathrooms in there. This is awesome. Yeah, people stay here overnight. We do retreats, but a lot of people come just for the day to join one of our soaking sessions, and we run it with, a small footprint, set amount of people, so that you've kind of almost hiked into a spot where you're not gonna have to roll the dice on what the social experience is going to be, and then we try and just get out of the way and let people do their thing. There will be 100+ people and a whole concert this weekend taking place right here.
Watch the show?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it all happens right here. The main water line actually goes all the way down to the river, and then it goes back uphill here. So gravity does an amazing thing with a huge amount of water here. So this is the lowest point on the property. This is where we've been. So the main line comes here, and it can either go into cooling coils, which we're not running right now, or it tees off right here, and then goes back into these two big pools.
How often is water level above this?
Never. We're at a high water mark because they were running, the whole problem got caused by an engineering test that drained the reservoir. And now they're doing another test to measure it at its high point. So this is the highest you'll see it. So this would be, these two valves are what we would open when we're like, okay, we think the line is full, open the lowest gravity valve.
Where does this line go?
These two lines go back into a main pipe that splits between both of those pools.
Okay.
And so we have not been, so right now it's feeding both of those pools.
Right now those are flowing into those pools.
So when we get ready to start priming the line, we'll close every valve down here.
Just need water to this point right here.
And every pool is gonna be closed.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna let, you know, that line fill up, and then we're gonna try and determine, okay, is the lower half full, cap it, open it, suction, see if it works. And it's worked for like, we fill it and then it's like a train chugging up a hill.
Yep.
You hear that water gulping, and then it just...
We've got two problems. Number one, the main pool where all the hot water comes from sprung a leak somewhere underground, and it is not holding the water capacity that it normally should. It's really low. Problem number two is the way the water moves from the source pond to the pools where people soak is via a big gravity siphon line. That means there's no pumps, right? So there's a big pipe that goes into the source pool, comes up over a little hump that we're standing on, and it flows downhill. That relies on a watertight pipe and gravity to basically pull the water downhill, and then it pumps it out of the pond without any sort of mechanical, components. So stop the leak, get the water flowing. Two objectives, right?
And sit in the pools later tonight.
And do some yoga in the hot springs. It's gonna be a great day. So we found problem number one. We don't know if this is the only problem, but we know that this is a big problem. Basically, when you're running a siphon, you're relying on water to be completely watertight, and no air can get in or out, because if air gets in, then it breaks that vacuum, right? Because then you're pulling in air from the outside. So with this pipe completely sealed and the water rushing downhill, it creates the vacuum that we need to be able to siphon the water out of the pond. However, with this section of pipe that's been underwater forever until the pond drained a couple days ago, we didn't worry about that because this would be underwater and it's pulling in water, not air. Well, we just excavated this out, and Hans found that there is a really bad connection there. Just basically the old glue, the old slip fitting is garbage. You can see the water dripping out of it. So we're going to clean up this fitting, this connection here. That is some hot water.
Easy. Nice. Freaking rock.
Jeez, okay.
Yeah, there's no seal in there.
You said someone fell in?
Yeah, so this is their one neighbor, and he said that years ago the old owner fell in over here just for a second, but long enough where he had to be in the burn unit down at the U for 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Sounds terrifying.
Ugh.
We got it, Alan. Oh, you already got it out? Mm-hmm. Well, that wasn't glued in there very good then.
All right, so by dumb luck, Jordan had a ring sitting around that we need, which is the O-ring that seals this pipe. This did not have it. I don't think it ever had it. I think they just tried to glue it. It could have been there, maybe dissolved, but there's no trace of it ever being there, so I don't think it had it. So this, with some glue, with a cleaned up pipe, will absolutely solve this problem right here. Now we just gotta make sure there's not 5 more of these.
Okay, ready?
Ready to feed it and then rotate it into the water.
Let me, I can.
Rotate it down all the way down. Hurry before that sets.
Rotate.
Listen.
Where's this?
Okay, golden, we got a good seal.
Explain your little contraption.
All right, so up till now, every time Jordan's wanted to prime the pipe, he's got this cap that's on 2 pieces of string that he kind of throws out there and tries to get over the end of the pipe and then pull it shut so that he can fill the pipe full of water, get prime, and start the pump. So instead of having to throw it out on the strings and hope that you get on the end, Rob has attached it to the end of a 2x4 with reinforced 45-degree angles and this guide pipe to screw underneath so that you know when it's setting on top of the pipe. You get right to the end, you pull it, you plug it, bada bing, bada boom, you have the perfect cap setup.
Well, it's feeling much more like a cap, not a piece of wood with string attached to it. Cue all the mean comments about Hans and his negativity.
No. If anybody says one thing mean about Hans, I'm coming to your house. I'm gonna ask you to apologize to Hans, and I'm gonna break off a bunch of plastic forks and put them in your lawn.
Is that a good chance? Good chance you see us for dinner.
So right now, we're going to reinstall one of the clean out pipes. Clean out pipes are basically vertical pipes that stick out of the ground that tie into the main line that goes underground. That gives you the opportunity to get in there, inspect it, clean it. That's why it's called a clean out. And in this case, we're using them to fill the pipe. But this connection down here, the old fitting down here was in like a rubber slip fitting that wasn't tight. And that's definitely an area where water could have been, or air could have been leaking in. So installing a new clamp, cleaned up the end of the pipe, gonna glue it, clamp it, and reinforce it so that it's not so wobbly. Agua ahí, que está bombeando. Está llena de este.
Probably about when the attack of the killer tomatoes was made.
Yeah.
This is how long I hold a hand on there. Yeah, that's too hot.
No.
So hot.
No.
Put your hand on it. On it. Yeah, no, your fingers are coming up.
It's kind of hot.
Yeah, it's hot. It's bloody hot. I mean, yeah, just clogged up your legs instantly.
Yeah. What's Dave working on?
All right. So we have a pump here, Sweet Honda pump. We're gonna run our one line in here to suck the water out of the pond, send it down the line to Dave so he can then fill up the pipe with the own water from the source pond here. Oh, my muffin! Saving it for dessert after. So it's my reward if I win. Oh, hey, mister. I'd like to introduce you to this lovely young gal. We hope that everything just works out in the end. Oh, look at that. Perfect match.
Is that how it works?
Uh-oh. Maybe not a perfect match. You have to love each other.
You can't force love.
Why won't you love each other? Maybe like take her out for a nice seafood dinner or something.
Right when you see water coming out of that, I'll open the line and you pull.
Not quite, because we want to see water coming out of there, and then we want to disconnect this and thread that cap on so we're not getting any air. And then you open the bottom. We need to be able to fill it with the pump and then get a closed system completely. Then open the bottom down there and then pull this cap. I'll radio you and tell you when to open it once we know that we've got some stuff here. Once that happens, we'll have you open it for a split second, and then once we see that get tight, then we'll pull that cap and see what happens.
Once you see it get tight, let me know and I can open like everything.
Okay. I think we're losing all of our pressure right there. The issue we have is that freaking end that goes in the pond. It's really hard to get sealed tight. Oh, frick, lost it all again. It's really hard to get sealed tight, and we can't get in the water because it's 180 degrees. Can't get even that close without getting burnt. So just gotta hope that we get it filled up enough without losing all the water. You can see it's just bubbling out the end of the intake pipe. Shut that off. Okay, keep that on there, guys, real quick. Let's put a cap on here real quick.
I can feel suction.
Yeah. Okay, Jordan, open them up. Let's see what happens. Guys, open.
Did you guys feel suction on the pipe cap?
We never did get good suction, but it's sucking up here at the clean out.
Okay, let's just let this play out. This might be the normal flow. Just give it 5 minutes. Meanwhile, there is pizza on the patio.
Yeah, we'll come down and grab some pizza. We're waiting to see how this plays out.
Let me see that. Oh, that's a pizza sandwich. That's how you eat pizzas. If you don't eat pizza like this, you're not a real man.
11 minutes later.
All right, new plan. Run the big pump, fill it up again. Water's obviously coming out because it's bubbling out as we speak. They're gonna go down to the bottom, open the valves. We're gonna shut this off, cap it, and Dave's gonna start a pump at the bottom this time that will hopefully create the vacuum sucking the water this way, and it'll get everything flowing. Once it runs for a little bit, shut it off, and hopefully it stays. That's the new plan.
Well, this is the release. These are all fully, you know, if we close them, it's building at that pressure. We kind of want to see how much pressure we've got, so we're letting a little vacuum happen. That little amount should be enough to actually, once the pump turns off, create a vacuum in the whole system. And the idea is we're gonna release everything we can out of here, which is the lowest gravity, and then even turn on this pump so it creates a suction on top of what we're releasing.
So far, so good. What we don't want to have happen is we don't want to see this flow of water coming out of here start to look like air. If it starts looking aerated, that means we're pulling air again, which is not good.
This flow would be characteristic of the full thing working if it stays like this.
We're there. I guarantee we're there. There's no way it would be pushing through the pump like that, just trickling through the line. You're a maybe?
I'm a maybe.
I'm going to put us at a solid 85%. In the meantime, I'm going to run this a little bit more just to make sure that we're not getting any weird hiccups. I think we're there. He's still skeptical.
No, I'm a 90.
He's at I was at 85 and now he's at 90. I think we got a prime.
This one's slowing down. It's almost stopped. I'm hearing air and there's something. Big air bubbles are coming out. Oh yeah. The engine is struggling to pull out now. It's pulling a lot of air.
Come check it out.
Turn your valves off, both of them.
This one off too?
Yeah.
What would you think it was doing?
Well, this thing's not running right, and if it doesn't run right, it'll oscillate funny. Up there, there's nowhere for water to be coming other than the pond.
So it was working.
Yeah, I think we're golden.
I think this was struggling because I had this bottom one open. Once I closed the bottom, it was functioning really good. If we were sucking the whole line out, and all the tees and everything to these pools had to be refilled. So the whole line could just be like refilling itself. And we will start to see this pressure reflect the fact that everything's closed but this.
Did you guys shut the pump off down there?
Yeah, pump's off, and we're still getting a decent flow, so we're just going to keep an eye on it for a second, but just make sure you keep that intake pipe open. There's no cap on it. Stop.
Oh, now you might.
We must still have an air leak somewhere.
This is not from the pond. All this debris is from the pipe inside. That's what we clean out when we jet the lines. It might be just pulling, I don't know, struggling with a ton of iron buildup and
Shut the pump off. Still sucking air in somewhere, losing its prime. The air is coming in somewhere in this 300 or 400 yard section of old brittle PVC pipe that's been in 185 degree water for decades.
yeah. Now we're getting it. Creating new problems.
Oh yeah.
Probably the gurgling sound we heard from up here.
I mean, I've never seen a leak here. I've never seen a puddle, never seen anything. It could just be like slow leaking. It's obviously corroded, and the only thing that will do that is this mineral water. Either way, I do feel like we, tomorrow, either here or in Salt Lake, can find a 6-inch replacement valve, but we have until the pond rises, you know, to swap it, and it is hard to calculate.
Well guys, as you saw, we didn't get it quite done today. We got close, we got water flowing, but we keep on losing the prime and the siphon. And we believe there's still multiple air leaks in the line. We did find that really old, nasty, rusty valve at the very top, the gate valve. We've got to replace that tomorrow, and we're gonna leave right now and let the pond continue to fill up tonight, because hopefully we got the leak up there fixed so it won't continue to empty. So when we get back here in the morning, we're hoping the pond is another foot or two higher, which will cover much more of that intake pipe, which will make it so that it doesn't matter if there's any leaks in it. And then we're gonna bring up a bunch of new fittings, a bunch of new valves, replace anything that looks bad, And tomorrow we should be able to get this thing wrapped up and get water flowing and solve all the problems. Stop the leaks in the actual pond, fix all the broken and brittle pipes, and add the new pipes that Jordan actually wanted to add. He's been wanting to put in big 8-inch lines up here. So while we're here with the machines and everything, we're just gonna bury those. So in the future, he can run basically a backup line. So if this ever happens again, he's got a backup plan. So that's the plan. By 8 o'clock, got a 2.5-hour drive home. So we're gonna boogie and then be back up here in the morning. So this is gonna be the outro for video number 1. Let's head home.